Hey guys, how are you doing? Today in this video we are going to talk about plastic pollution. India has now been ranked the world's largest contributor to plastic waste, a position that not only highlights a critical environmental crisis but also raises questions about public health and policy implementation. In this video, we will analyze implication of this report, basic science of plastics, their long-term health risks associated with plastic waste exposure, and what can be done to tackle this problem. Let's begin this video with some basic data, right? Okay, here we go. India has now been ranked, as we have discussed, number one, and globally, let me tell you some data. Globally, total, around, total plastic waste emission, total plastic waste emission is around what? Is around 52.1 million ton, right? It is, right? This is the report which is also highlighting, and the diagram is also here, 52 million, right? And India's contribution is number one, it is 9.3, right? So India's contribution here in this plastic waste, India's contribution is 9.3 million, 9.3 million ton, right? So it is in million tons, right? Million tons. So if you were to take some ratio, 52 over 90.3 and multiply it with 100, you will get, what? You will approximately get what? 20%, around 20%. So approximately around 20%, India's plastic pollution is highest in the world. It is highest in the world, right? So you should remember this data. And this is the recent report which I am taking from this Nature September 2024 data, which was data for 2020, right? All right. Okay. If we were to talk about consumers, so India is what? India is top three consumer of plastics. Number one in this list, number one is China, and after China, USA, and after USA, India. India is top three consumer of plastic, right? Okay. All right. So let me give you some another data. Apart from this, total plastic waste from data from CPCB, Central. What is this? Central Pollution Control Board. Central Pollution Control Board has given another data, and this data is what? This analysis out of 9.3 million ton plastic waste. What is done? If you look at this diagram, and you will get some basic glimpse. Around 12% is recycled. Around 12% plastic waste in India is around 12%, 12.3 or around 12% plastic waste is what? It is basically recycled, right? Okay. Another data is approximately you will see 20%. Around 20% of this plastic waste is incinerated, incinerated, or simply it is burned. It is burned, right? And 70%, approximately 70% or 67.9% exactly, it is unaccounted for. It is what? It is unaccounted for. We don't know where this plastic is going, right? And you can find out 70% of this 9.3 million ton, and it basically where it goes to. Sometimes it end up in landfills, which is a serious menace, serious problem, right? Or it will be dumped into some kind of dump yards, right? Dump yards. Okay. Another share it goes, otherwise we have seen it along the roadsides, in streets or everywhere you will get, this is right. So let me tell you why plastics are used. Can you tell some basic idea about what is, why plastics are used? Plastics have wide applicability, right? Why plastics? Why people are using plastics? Why plastics? Plastics have benefits, most importantly, it is inexpensive. It is not very expensive. Inexpensive, right? Plastic is inexpensive. Rather, if you use natural fibers, for example, jute, it is comparatively very costly, right? So, and they are lightweight also. They don't have much weight, They are waterproof also. they are waterproof also. This is the beauty of plastic, which is why they are used universally, right? They are waterproof. They are bad conductor of heat, bad conductor of heat and electricity, right? So you can use them for purposes which do not conduct electricity. They are non-reactive. This is another benefit with this. They are non-reactive. For example, you can keep pickle, for example, into these plastic bottles. Why? Because it doesn't react, right? Okay. Industry, if you were to talk about industries, industrial uses are so wide in industry. Why they are used? They are used in food industry, for example, for packaging and all, right? They are also used in fashion industry. These days fashion industry also use widely plastics. Constructions, for constructions, for automobile industry, for example, automotive industry or automobile industries, you get them. They are also used widely in healthcare also, because of their non-reactivity, right? So this is the basic of the plastic. And in this diagram, which we can see, for example, PET bottles, right? Polyethylene terephthalates. This is disposable water bottles. We use them. There are polyester clothes, ropes, binding straps, covering seats. They are all, and there is recyclability of these plastics. There are HDPE. HDPE, for example, high density polyethylene. They are used in shampoo bottles. They are used for jerry cans, chairs, bottles, crates, fertilizers, bags, etc. Their recyclability is possible. Yes, they are possible, and they are widely recycled, right? So these kind of canes, for example, chairs, crates, all of these are HDPE, H4 high, and as high density polyethylene, right? So let me tell you some basic about plastic. What is plastic? If we have talked about this, so we should know what are plastics. Plastics are synthetic fibers. They are synthetic or semi-synthetic organic compounds. They are, in one word, they are basically synthetic fibers. They are basically what? They are synthetic fibers. And let me tell you, synthetic fibers, they are made with polymerization, right? Polymerization. They are polymers like these are merts mean units. They can make side chains also. They can make, for example, branch chain also. So this is why plastics have wide application. These are bonds between these units, right? These units, and individual unit is called monomers, and once they are polymerized, it is called polymer, right? They are called polymer. On the basis of behavior on heating, there are two kind of plastics. This is the basic behavior on heating. This is the basic science. Okay, let me write it with with the help of computer, right? Okay, this is behavior on heating. Behavior on heating. Okay. On the basis of heating, there are two kinds of plastics. One are called thermoplastics. You must have done this in your high school science. Thermoplastics. One is thermoplastic and other is called thermoset. Another one is called thermoset, right? Another variety is called thermoset. Thermoplastics has basic definition. They can be molded again and again. Soften up. They get soft after heating. Soft upon heating. You can write soft upon heating. Soft upon heating, right? They can be melted again and again. So can be melted again and again, and technically we call it reverse polymerization, right? So they can be polymerized again and again, right? They are reverse polymerization. Technically we say reversible polymerization. Reversible polymer, and that is why you can say they are recyclable, right? They are recyclable, so therefore they are recyclable, right? Okay, for example, I have given you example like PET bottles, right? PET bottles, your gel, HDPE, for example, right? PVC pipe, PVC pipes are another example, right? Polyvinyl chloride pipes are example. Polypropylenes, poly propylenes could be other examples, right? and they are used for disposable, for example, disposable cups, food package, food containers, food packaging, food containers, etc. Right? Then polythene also. What about thermoset? Thermoset simply means set. Set, once they are molded, they cannot be remolded again, right? Can be molded once only. So they can be molded once only, right? Technically, we say they are brittle. Brittle means once you beat them, they can be beaten into powder. They give you powdery structure once you beat them. Therefore, we can also say technically they are irreversible. This process is irreversible polymerization. Irreversible, irreversible polymerization. Irreversible polymerization. Okay. Example, one of the best example is Bakelite. Bakelite is bad conductor of heat and electricity, and therefore it is used for example, handles of, for example, pressure cooker and iron, for example. They are also used for electrical appliances. There is melamine. Melamine has one property, it is heat resistant. So fire extinguishers also use this one, right? Vulcanized rubbers are also used. Vulcanized rubbers, for example, soles of your shoe, right? They are used by fire resistant. They are fire resistant, so they can be used for hotels or anywhere where there is too much heat, right? Rubber, they are used for shoe soles, car tires. They are also used for rubber hoses, right? Rubber hoses. This is the basic science of plastics. All right. Okay, so another example with the help of these diagrams, you can see they are polyvinyl chlorides. They are used for, so you should remember, they are used for pipes, weather resistant clothes, medical device, toys, kitchen clings, wraps, wires, shoe soles, right? Recyclability often not recyclable, okay, but you can recycle them because thermoplastics has the property of reversible, as I have already talked. Reversible, right? Reversible polymerization, we call it reversible polymerization, right? Another examples are LDPE, which we have discussed about HDPE. We have LDPE also, low density polythenes. They are plastic bags, juice and milk pouches, electrical components, generally not recyclable. They are very small, right? Then we have PP, polypropylenes. We have talked about PP. You should remember all of these examples. They can be very well asked in your exams, right? For example, they are used in bottle caps, plastic cutleries, takeaway food containers, raffia bags, buckets, mugs, tubs, chairs, automobile parts. Recyclability, yes, yes. Generally, you can recycle them, but often not. They are not recycled ones, right? Polystyrene, simply PS. You can remember them like PVC, HDPE. You can remember them LDPE. Okay, you should remember them like PP, polypropylene. You should remember them, right? Polystyrene, PS. These are, you should know the full forms basically. Then it is going to help you out to remember, right? Another examples, thermosets. Thermosets, I have given you examples like melamine. Melamine is heat resistant. It is used for the dress or fire extinguishers uniform. Then Bakelite is bad conductor of heat and electricity. They are part of electrical appliances. They are part of handles of pressure cooker, iron, etc. Resins are used. Phenolic resins are another example of thermosets. Epoxy ER, you can remember like this. Epoxy resins are used. Vulcanized rubbers are used. They are used in car parts, mattresses, circuit boards, jewelries. Not recycled because they are brittle in nature, right? They are brittle in nature. Brittle means simply they, once you beat them, they become powder, right? Thermosets are have irreversible polymerization. Irreversible polymerization, right? This is the basic property of thermosets. This is the basic idea about types of plastics. Let me tell you plastic as hazards. What are the problems with plastics? We all know plastics have environmental, serious concerns. There is, critical, issue regarding, environmental pollutions. Plastics are non-biodegradable. You cannot degrade them into, inorganic parts. They are not degradable. So they take 500 to 1000 years to decompose, So technically they are also persistent organic pollutants. They can be also called as persistent, because it takes so long. Persistent organic pollutants, right? They will be in this category of POPs, not like VOCs, volatile organic compounds. They are not POPs. They cause long-term accumulation in ecosystem, has some serious implications. For example, they contribute 80% of marine pollution, 4.8 to 12.7 million tons entering oceans yearly, which forming garbage patches like the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, right? So this is, you should remember. Over time, plastic fragments into microplastic container, है ना? Okay, तो ये बहुत serious problem. And why? Because these fragments, these small fragments, what they do basically, micro, for example, if I am using the word micro, 1 micrometer is 1 part of a million, 10 raised to power minus 6. And if I am saying nanoparticles, nano size, it means smaller, further smaller, 10 raised to power minus 9. And they infiltrate these fragments, they will infiltrate soil, they will, become part of the air, water, and therefore they will enter the food chain. And once they enter the food chain, they become health crisis for human and other animals, right? Health crisis. They become health crisis. Even some animals, for example, microplastic find their way into food chain, being consumed by wildlife. They sometimes, believe that it is a food. Animals are often entangled in plastic, leading to injuries, suffocation, or sometimes death. Human health: plastic contains toxic chemicals including pesticides, flame retardants. This is a serious problem linked with cancer, heart, cardiovascular diseases, pulmonary obstructive diseases, reproductive disorders, so on and so forth. For as far as climate is concerned, they are derived from fossil fuels, right? Fossil fuels are basically what? They are dead remains of plants and animals. Dead remains of plants and animals, which we call coal and petroleum, right? And natural gases. Their production accounts for at least 5.3% of global greenhouse gases, right? Because they are derived from fossil fuels. All right. So greenhouse gas emission and worsening the climate change, they are also part of the climate change, right? Most serious problem with plastics is they are non-biodegradable, which you should remember, right? Degradability, non-biodegradability. This is the most serious problem regarding plastics. All right, steps that India can take. What India can take actually: strengthen data collection. The government must rigorously estimate production, consumption, and recycling of plastics. Even today, several state pollution control boards do not provide sufficient data or exact data. They can regulate production, right? What India can do, it can regulate production. Plastic production by petroleum and petrochemical company needs to be regulated by effectively addressing the source of the problem. Effort, eco-friendly packaging also. Packaging should prioritize end-of-life design, promote reusable models that restrict composite plastic due to their high cost and recycling challenges. Then proper labeling also. Every plastic product needs to be labeled according to its type. Recyclability to ensure proper waste segregation and recycling and disposability, right? Okay, raise enforcement, enhancing capabilities of officials at various levels is essential to ensure effective implementation. Let me give you one example before winding up this. For this video today, Government of India in 2022, government has banned 19 SUPs. What is SUPs? They are called single-use plastics. Single-use plastics. They are, for example, single-use plastic. If I were to give you examples could be, for example, like your straws, for example, straws, trays, for example, right? Decorative decorative thermocols. These are single use plastics, right? Government has because why government did this? They are low utility, they don't have much utility, first of all, and secondary, they have high littering potential. High littering potential. Okay. Also, government has banned polyvinyl chloride, which we were discussing. Those polyvinyl chlorides who has thickness less than 100 micrometer, right? And plastic carry bags, plastic carry bags, those which have thickness less than 120 micrometer. Why? Because they are difficult to, they are difficult to collect and recycle, and even if you collect them, difficult to collect, and it is very difficult to recycle them, right? This is the idea. All right, so government campaigns can help to tackle this menace. Government can lead behavioral change campaign to encourage individual and communities to embrace sustainable practices, reuse, recycle, and single-use plastic. And particularly about single-use plastics. So this year, world, let me finish this lecture today. World Environmental Day is celebrated. Let me write completely. World Environment Day. World Environment Day is celebrated on 5th June. And interestingly, I am going to talk about it later on, other, agreements also. But the theme of this year, World's Environmental Day was beat plastic pollution. Beat plastic pollution. Beat plastic pollution. Okay. So if it is not clear, let me write is beat plastic pollution. This is the theme for awareness and to curtail this problem, right? So I think today it is enough. And if you really like this video, don't forget to hit like button. Don't forget to hit share button. If you like our channel, don't forget to subscribe it. We'll come up with another video in the next class. Till then, goodbye. Thank you so very much.